Well, this is where we stayed on the 22nd. Today's the 23rd. And this is the Doubletree by Hilton. It was a nice room. And this is Bath, England. And it is a very old city. And you can tell, here's our bus. And just down the road a little bit is Saracen's Head, which is, Saracen's Head is a bar. They're all bars. So we didn't make it over there, but we enjoyed our stay thoroughly, especially the Roman baths.
In about 2.5 hours time, so just a heads up on that. Now normally on the first drive of the day I try and stay as quiet as possible so you guys can just sit back and relax, but as we I won't do any major talking, but when we pass some interesting stuff I will jump on the mic to point it out, but in general I'll stay nice and quiet so you guys can just relax. But we'll have quite a bit of a scenic drive this morning before we arrive in Ludlow in about 2.5 hours, and then from there we'll head over to Llangollen in Wales itself for a bit of time there before crossing back over the English border and heading to Liverpool, where we'll check in this afternoon and then have the optional guided tour this afternoon around Liverpool. Right, so I am going to just sort myself out a little bit, and as we head out of the city there's a few things I will point out as we go.
It looks like some birds or animals. Right. See, nobody should ever bring that.
Oh boy.
Seagulls will destroy it. I guess they smell it or whatever, but oh, there's no garbage pickup? Oh, man. Oh, because they can go in a can too, right? They can open a can. Wow. That's interesting, huh? Is it close? So where do you put your garbage at your house? Do you just get it until you're ready to bring it out? You don't leave garbage cans outside. Switch over on those.
I hope Mike starts talking.
Underground thing outside that has a lock on it. And then they put the garbage in the street. But you done by yourself.
Yeah, well, no,
The same thing here.
I was looking for a hold to put one of these in. Yeah, I'll have a little go on that in a minute. Should be fine. I'm a bit of a Ludlow when it comes to stuff.
hitting the trees. Yeah. Looks like you have to trim all the time.
Yes, so it's a priced out.
I felt so bad as I coming down. I was there waiting. Before that.
Yeah. I called them.
Oh.
From me.
Here it comes.
Oh, is this beautiful?
There you go. You still want to trade signs?
Unless you have a cookie over there.
This side is sheep. They're down.
Oh, we
A lot
got
of
a
sheep.
sheep.
A lot of sheep.
South Gloucestershire. I think that's how it's pronounced.
Nice pictures of the countryside. Huh?
Look at these hedgerows. They're tall and they're thick. That'll keep you out just as well as a wall. Little tight through here. Woo-wee. Let's see if we can get a look at just beautiful. Nice high ground. You can see just about. That's probably Wales over there. Look at that town over there. That's huge.
So if you look to your right in just a second, it's this big, beautiful old stately home called Tracy Park. It's made into a big fancy hotel and golf course, and it actually just shut down last year in October after not making enough money, which is rather strange. It's a beautiful place to visit. Now, what do we think of these roads anyway in the world? They did some research a couple of years ago, and they were talking about making a hydroelectric power generating dam in the estuary, and they reckon that if they built it, it would, because the tide moves up so much, it could fuel about one in 5 British houses just from this estuary here. But they will never do this because it is a tidal estuary. These sand flats that you'll see with low tide at the moment are home to some really rare birds, and so the RSPB, the Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, will not allow anything to really go on in this area, which is good in some degrees, I guess. But this Severn Estuary, this has been sort of a dividing borderline between England and Wales for much of British history. And previously, up until the 1880s, if you wanted to go over the Severn Estuary, you had to go all the way around, all the way up the Severn Estuary, cross over and then cross back. And they built the first bridge, the one over to our right, in the 1960s. And this completely changed culture in South Wales, because it was finally connected to England, and has had a real big impact indeed. Now, as I said, this bridge that we're on at the moment, this was built in 1996, so it's the new bridge. At the moment, the one to our right that you'll see if you look to your right, that was the Royal Severn Estuary Bridge. That was finished in 1960. And then they built this one into 1996. But this had the name of, pardon me, it was known as the second Severn Bridge, the first being on our right, but in 2018 they decided they want to rename the bridge. So they spent £217,000 trying to figure out a new name for the bridge, and they came up with the Prince of Wales Bridge. And this caused a lot of issues and a lot of unhappy locals, as they thought, what a waste of money, £200,000 for a name change, it doesn't really need it. But as I say, huge impact on Welsh culture just having this bridge here. They often say, you know, if a Welshman moves to England, they'll refer to it as, I moved to the other side of the bridge. And there's also a very famous poem in Wales called the Ode to the Severn Bridge. It was written in 1966 by a really famous Welsh poet called Harry Webb. And he opened his poem as this: "Two lands at last connected across the waters wide, and the tolls collected on the English side." Now this is because they used to have a tax or a toll on this bridge to cross over. However, it was not particularly fair, because it was only a tax for people entering into Wales. So if you crossed from Wales into England, you didn't pay the toll, but only this way. It was £6.70 until 2018 you had to pay to cross this bridge. So it was a tax really to enter Wales. Now they got rid of the toll in 2018, and this caused loads of issues again. House prices just on the north side of the bridge, so in the Welsh side, went up 13% that year, because everyone suddenly realised that they could commute over the border without paying the tax every day. So it really caused a big rise in house prices. Just one last thing about the other bridge to our right, the interesting cultural moment from that bridge. Now, I'm sure a lot of you have seen Star Wars. If you've ever seen Star Wars and the laser guns that they use in Star Wars, the big ship ones they used, they made the noise that they used to make that in the film was the twanging of the cables on the first Severn Bridge over there. And all the handguns, the smaller weapons they have, are the smaller cables from the bridge as well. So if you've ever seen Star Wars, you've heard the Severn Bridge already.
This is the lovely town of Ludlow. This is the market in the middle of the town. And we're looking forward to shopping it a little bit and getting to know the city. They say there are 500 buildings listed here, which means that they're protected for their architecture and they're not allowed to be amended. So, I see a street musician down there. Yeah, this is great. All right, here we go. This is one of the cards that we bought from an artist in Ludlow at the market. And I just love it because it reminds me of my Luna. And I have another one that looks a lot like my Luna. And that's just very sweet. So I got those 2 cards, and then I got a pack of 4 from an artist, Bramble Cottage Artwork. And very nice cards. One of them is on the back, and her artwork is very well done. So we've got those, and I'm very happy I bought them.